Hello, Space Cadets! Welcome to another episode of Galactic Review. We've received a message from Galactic Media Enterprise Command, or GMEC for short. They want us to get a biological sample from some mutants in a Game Boy game. They say these mutants survived World War VI, and GMEC wants to learn how. So we're here in the Game Boy zone to get that sample. This game is called Aerostar, and it was developed and published by Vic Tokai in 1991 for the classic Game Boy. It's a vertical scrolling shooter set in the future where the planet was left uninhabitable after World War VI. Many years later, the planet becomes habitable again, so humans return to populate the Earth. However, the humans soon find out that a murderous race of mutants also inhabit the Earth and want to destroy them. To combat the terror of the evil mutant predators, the humans create a nuclear-powered combat vehicle of destruction called the Aerostar. So let's talk about what the Aerostar can do. You move with the D-pad and fire with the B button, and you fire 2 projectiles at once, which is nice. Pretty basic so far, but the interesting thing is that the A button lets you jump. Now you might be wondering why you need to jump in a vertical scrolling shooter. Well, unlike other games in this genre, your ship doesn't actually fly. The Aerostar has to jump.
Sir, these people live in the 29th century. Why is their ultimate combat vehicle not able to fly?
Because the game's mechanics demand it, GameBot. The Aerostar's ability to jump is one of the defining mechanics of this game's design. This game basically has platforming in it, which is unusual for a shooter with a top-down perspective like this. The Aerostar travels along platforms, and you need to jump from one platform to another to get through the stages. If you miss the platform when you jump, you will fall and lose a life.
Sir, does the Aerostar jump like Van Halen, or is it more like crisscross?
Good question, GameBot. I think it's more like crisscross. You'll notice that enemies appear either on the ground level or in the air. This adds to the jumping mechanics because you can evade bullets from enemies on the ground, but you also have to be cautious of enemies in the air when you jump. The standard enemy bullets are simple circles, and it's easy to tell if they're on the ground level or in the air. The small ones are on the ground and the large ones are in the air, as you would expect for a top-down perspective. Unfortunately, when we start to see some different types of enemies with unique attacks, it's not always easy to tell if the projectiles are in the air or on the ground. This can lead to a few frustrating moments of trial and error as you try to figure it out, but it doesn't ruin the game. The Aerostar can pick up a small variety of power-ups throughout the stages. 3 of these power-ups are classified as offensive and 2 are classified as defensive. You can pick up 1 of each type. The offensive power-ups are the 5-Wave Vulcan, the Laser, and the S-Bomb. The defensive ones are the Side Shot and the Omni Shield. I mostly stick with the Vulcan and the Side Shot. The game is pretty straightforward as you blast your way through the auto-scrolling stages, fighting the evil mutant scum. You advance through the waves of enemies and reach the end of the level, where there's a boss waiting for you. The bosses are actually pretty weak for the most part, but a couple of them will put up a struggle. They're obviously a lot easier to beat if you have power-ups. After you beat the boss, your score gets added up and you get a bonus for each life you have left.
But sir, it does not say bonus, it says boons.
GameBot, that's obviously a typographical error. Boon is a verb, not a noun. They can't give us a verb, man. Come on, use some common sense.
Sorry, sir. I will update my vocabulary database.
Okay, so like I was saying, you get bonus points at the end of each stage, and you can earn extra lives by earning certain amounts of points. There are 7 stages in total, and you'll get 5, 4, or 3 continues based on which difficulty you select. The art direction for the stages is good because each one has a unique look. The first stage looks cool as you battle through the city streets with the waving ocean nearby. The second stage has a more abstract, techno-factory look to it. The third stage appears to be set in a cave deep underground or something like that. In the fourth stage, we see some pretty narrow platforms and a lot of deadly spikes too. The fifth stage looks like an alien world, heavily inspired by H.R. Giger's design for the film Alien, with enemies resembling xenomorphs and facehuggers. Actually, this is a good place to gather that biological sample we came here for, since everything here is basically some kind of disgusting biomutant creep. Alright, GameBot, go and put the sample in cold storage while I finish the review. As you progress through the game, the stages present more challenging enemies and trickier platforming segments. The sixth stage is cool because you get to go into space, but somehow there's still gravity out here, so you still have to do some platforming. This stage actually contains the single most difficult section of the entire game. You have to jump from one narrow diagonal platform to the next, with these enemies on the platforms firing bullets along them. I died quite a few times here. The seventh and final stage looks like it's deep inside the mutants' evil fortress. It's got some tricky parts with enemies that create and destroy platforms. The final boss breathes fire at you, which is kinda cool, but he isn't really that difficult. After you beat the game, you don't really get too much of an ending. It just shows a close-up of the Aerostar, and you see the mutant fortress falling in the background. Then after that, the credits start to roll. The music in this game isn't bad, and it suits the gameplay pretty well. Some of the tunes are kinda catchy. The graphics are pretty standard, but the art direction was good, so the game has visual appeal. The gameplay is good, and the implementation of the platforming elements in a scrolling shooter helped to make it more engaging. Obviously, there are a million vertical scrolling shooters out there, and this one isn't even close to being one of the best. But considering it's a vertical scrolling shooter for the original Game Boy, it's really not bad at all. In my opinion, this game succeeded at trying to do something a little bit different with the jumping mechanic, and you have to respect it for that. Aerostar is certainly a worthy entry into the catalog of Game Boy games, and I would definitely recommend giving it a try. So that's all for this Galactic review. Thanks for watching the video, everyone, and if you liked it, please hit the like button below and let me know what you think of the game in the comments. And if you'd like to continue to explore the galaxy of media with me, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, this is Captain Shinobi, signing out.